diagnosed with PCOS, you may be frustrated at how hard it feels to lose weight. Today, I'm going to tell you why that is and some practical tips on how to lose weight and keep it off. I'm Dr. Sidhu, and I am a family practice and a lifestyle medicine doctor here in Houston, Texas. I'm also the founder of Spring Monarch Primary Care. I've linked my practice in the captions below. If you've been diagnosed with PCOS, you may feel like you are just doing everything right and the weight just is not coming off, or if it comes off, it's just not staying off. Today, I'm going to share some practical, holistic, evidence-based tips on how to lose weight. I'm going to explain why it's harder to lose weight and how you can sustain the weight loss and the benefits of those changes long term. Let's dig in. First, it's really important to understand why it's so hard to lose weight in PCOS. And the reason is that most women are also insulin resistant if they have PCOS. So PCOS is not just a reproductive or just a period problem. In fact, we just need to get rid of the stigma that PCOS is just a period problem. It's not. It's also a metabolic problem. And one of the main things about the metabolic issues that it has is insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is one of the primary reasons why people have trouble losing weight and why it feels like the weight comes on faster. For one reason is when you have higher insulin levels, you tend to store more fat. The second thing is when you have higher insulin levels, it's harder for your body to use those fat stores as energy. So for both of those reasons, women with PCOS tend to hold on to more weight and more around the midsection. So it's not all in your head, it's not willpower, it's actually biology keeping that weight on. All right, now let's talk about how to get some of that weight off, balance your hormones, and feel better. The first thing we've got to talk about is nutrition, but I want you to understand that there is no perfect, clear diet for PCOS. We know that some things work better than others, but there's not just one diet that I can be like, everyone on PCOS needs to be on this diet. But there are components of the diet that build a healthier diet for PCOS. First of all, we really want to be focusing on healthy proteins, high fiber foods, complex carbs, and healthy fats. A good way to think about it is if you were to draw out your plate, what I tell patients to do is draw out your plate like this and divide it into 3 sections. One section is the entire half of the plate, and the other section is broken into quarters. You want to fill the left half of your plate, which is half of your entire plate, with non-starchy vegetables. And then a quarter of your plate with your protein, and then a quarter of your plate with those complex healthy carbs. I recommend patients go ahead and try to eat those non-starchy vegetables first, because that's the food that has a lot of fiber and you start to feel fuller. And so by the time you get to the protein and then the carbs, you're less likely to overeat those carbs. So that can be a really simple, easy way to incorporate more healthy foods into your diet. Okay. The other thing that people can do with PCOS is make sure that they focus on the right carbs. If you tell someone you have PCOS and they tell you that you have to get rid of all carbs, that's the wrong advice. Ask somebody else. Healthy carbs are essential to our nutrition. So you want to focus on carbs that have really high fiber, quinoa, oatmeal, sweet potatoes, and foods that are not depleted of that fiber through processing, like white starches, white bread, white pasta, white tortillas. All of those are really low in fiber, raise your sugar really fast, and are no good for PCOS. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is exercise. Exercise is one of the most powerful tools we have with PCOS. And the reason is because it helps regulate our blood glucose. So a minute ago, we talked about the insulin resistance and the blood glucose connection. And so exercise is an excellent way to regulate that blood glucose. So we want to do exercising from various standpoints. Number one, a good strength training routine is essential for exercise for PCOS. Aiming for 2 to 3 times a week is great. It helps regulate that blood glucose even after you stop exercising. The second thing is cardio. You want to do some cardio exercising, walking, biking, swimming, and that's really great for insulin resistance. I do caution PCOS women against doing too much HIIT exercise. HIIT exercise, maybe 2, maybe 3 times a week might be okay, but too much HIIT exercise, high intensity interval exercise, can actually increase our cortisol levels, which is no good for PCOS. So if you're really into high intensity interval workouts with PCOS and it doesn't feel like the weight's budging, it may be because it's raising your cortisol and not really helping you regulate that blood glucose and insulin sensitivity. The third component of exercise is gentle movement. So we're talking Pilates, yoga, and that kind of thing, because that really helps regulate our cortisol. And so when we regulate our cortisol, our hormones are also more balanced. All right, the third thing that we have to talk about when we talk about weight loss and PCOS is managing our sleep and our stress. When I was in medical school, I had a professor that used to wear a hat that said sleep equals efficacy. And what that means is that if we don't get patients to sleep, nothing else matters. Nothing else will work. So we have to help patients sleep and really help them understand how important that is. Number one, because a lack of sleep increases our cortisol. We just talked about how high cortisol is not good for PCOS. Number two, poor sleep makes us more anxious. It makes us crave more foods. It makes us overeat. So really getting 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep is super important with PCOS. Also, finding relaxation methods that help, like journaling, meditation, taking slow walks in the morning, things like that can really help calm our mind and then calm our cortisol levels. Another thing that women with PCOS are at risk for is sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a sleeping disorder in where you're not getting enough oxygen at night, and so you might be snoring. And when you have sleep apnea, your body is constantly waking up so that it can take that deep breath and get enough oxygen in. And when you come out of sleep that many times during the night, you're not getting effective sleep and you're not feeling rested in the morning. So if you do snore at night and you have PCOS, that is something to definitely talk to your doctor about, and that may actually be hindering your weight loss efforts. Okay, the fourth thing to talk about is supplements and PCOS. Talking about supplements and PCOS could truly be one of its own videos. And if you want to hear more about supplements and PCOS, please let me know. I'll do a whole video on it. But just a brief overview, we have inositol that is great. We have vitamin D. We have metformin, zinc, and omega-3s are great for PCOS. Of course, don't start or stop any supplements without talking to your doctor. And again, if you want to hear more about that, just let me know in the comments and I'll make a whole different video about it. All right, so now we have talked about nutrition, we have talked about exercise, we've talked about sleep and stress management, and supplements. So if you take one thing away from this video, is that I want you to understand that the difficulty in losing weight is not in your head. It's not because you're weak-minded. It's the biology of what PCOS does to the body. And there is unfortunately no quick fix like there usually isn't in health. And so really the aim for PCOS should be small changes that you can sustain for a lifetime. And rather than just looking at the scale, it's really important to look at other factors of PCOS that tells us that the hormones are being regulated and the blood sugar is being stabilized. So we're going to look for things like, are the periods getting more regular? Are the moods becoming more stable? Are cravings becoming less? Are we sleeping better? And these are all things that we can look at in terms of PCOS symptoms to tell us if those hormones are really being regulated better. Okay, so that is my take on PCOS and weight loss tips. If you like this approach to medicine and want to work with me and you live in Texas, go ahead and fill out the link below and we can schedule a no obligation free discussion about what my practice is and how it works. If you want to see more videos like this, please like this video and let me know. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any videos from me, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to share and save.